negative commands, which is in English the word don't. In any language there is the concept of a person standing in front of you and you're telling them don't do that. So in Spanish, these are called -2 commands, and we have various steps. Step 1 is think of the present tense jo form of the verb you want to use. So the simplest example of this is going to be hablar. How do you make hablar into the present tense jo form? I speak. It's really simple.
H-A-B-L-A-N-D-O.
Nope, just present tense, yes. Hablo, yes.
Oh, like that.
Very simple, hablo. That is the first step, but it's going to be more complicated with other verbs because you have stem changers, like encender, where it goes to IE. And you have go verbs such as poner, which changes to pongo. So before we can get to the negative command for the to form, we have to go through this middle step to make sure we get the jo form in the present for whatever verb we're looking at. Then we move on to step 2, which is to add what we would not expect to add. We drop the O. Then we add ES for AR verbs, and we add AS for ER and IR verbs. And then of course we add no in front of it. So to say do not speak, we have a no. We have HABL, and we add ES to it. ES. Now this seems counterintuitive, it seems illogical. We're dealing with an AR verb, and we just put ES on the end of it. But this is exactly what we're doing for -2 commands. We're using what we would not expect to put on the end. It's almost as if the person is not wanting to yell at you, not wanting to scream, but they want to tell you not to do something. So they're switching this letter here, and that is implying don't do that. It's a very forceful switch. It's as if this kid is screaming, don't do that, and he does it by putting not an A, but an E at the end. Give me a thumbs up if that's vaguely making sense to you. We're gonna keep working on this, but you starting to get this? Okay, good. So we can see here, hablar turns to hablo, and then finally, for a -2 command, you get no hables. Yes?
Is there any way that the no would go after?
Nope, the no always goes before the verb. Good question. Then we have encender, which changes to enciendo. Drop the O, add an AS because it's an ER verb, and we have no enciendes. Excuse me, no enciendas. Añadir, to add. Añado, drop the O off, and because it's an IR verb, we're switching and adding AS, and you have no añadas. Poner is a go verb, so we're changing it to pongo. Drop the O and adding AS because it's an ER verb. Okay,
What's that?
that's step 2.
What's that?
Oh, you still working on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Finish writing this down in your notes. Okay, so think of it this way. You're yelling, don't do it, and the verb gets so nervous that it switches. An AR verb switches to an ending of ES, which would normally be for an ER or IR verb. And an ER verb switches over to the AS. The AR switches to the ES. And that's for negative commands. Everybody point at the person across from you and say, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay. Now point at them and say, don't speak.
Don't speak.
No.
No hablas.
Now in Spanish.
No hables.
No hables. No hables. Good.
Wait, can you go back to that? Wait, can you go back?
Slow down a little bit.
Okay, clear your desk off of anything you've written on the desk. And let's do a few examples of this. And you'll need your vocab sheets, or at least one per table. And translate. Don't beat the eggs. Don't beat the eggs. If you're joining us by video, please do this on a sheet of paper. Don't beat the eggs. Remember, it's an IR verb. So what's the ending gonna be?
Wait, what did you say?
Don't beat the eggs. You're switching, but first you have to go through the jo form in the present. All right, can somebody put it up on the board, please?
What's to be? Are you doing?
Don't beat the eggs. Okay, un aplauso, por favor.
Yes, I got it.
Un aplauso. Okay, it is batir with an IR, so it changes to AS here. No batas los huevos. Next example. Don't chop the garlic. Don't chop the garlic. How would we say in Spanish, don't chop the garlic? Don't chop the garlic. Who can put it up on the board? Okay, Ben, go for it. Don't chop the garlic.
I think I forgot.
Picar is the verb.
Did I write flop?
No picas el ajo. Un aplauso.
Do I erase it?
Yes, please.
Just that one wasn't.
Okay, we're gonna do some running games up to the board with examples, so we'll pause the video. Just the red button.
Yeah, just